So, what exactly is a growth mindset, and why is it something that wealthy people ascribe to? And, a growth mindset basically is the belief that you can improve your talents and abilities over time, whereas a fixed mindset is a self limiting belief that you can't. So, most of us who were raised with scarcity are of the opinion that we need money to make money, or we lack the resources and the ability and the knowledge and the skills to be able to do something. And so, again, the standard by which we live is why bother? And of course, the road ahead is not going to be as easy as it is for those who do have access to money and other resources and opportunities and networks. But it's not to say that, those who don't have access to those resources aren't able to create wealth for themselves. And, if you look at self-made millionaires and self-made billionaires, people like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, those are just a few people that were born with scarcity and they created their own opportunities. And I think it started by them having the belief that they were able to do something. They had the growth mindset. This book by Carol Dweck on mindset shares a lot of insights about the differences between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And, one of the things that stood out for me was the levels of confidence that people with a growth mindset have. And there was a study that they did where they gave the same task to a group of students who had both a growth mindset and students who had a fixed mindset. And they noticed that the confidence levels of those with a growth mindset actually increased than those who had a fixed mindset. And one of the challenges that I think people with a fixed mindset have, or their confidence has been lowered as a result of additional challenges and setbacks that they may have dealt with throughout their lives. It doesn't mean that because you currently have a fixed mindset that you can't shift towards a growth mindset. But again, it requires effort. So how do you do that? Well, for starters, by reading. And, not only reading, but learning, following inspirational people, watching podcasts, reading blogs. There's a wealth of information available for free on the internet, and even documentaries on Netflix that you can watch that will help you to get insights into how successful people have actually created their success. So I want to share a bit of my personal journey with you and how I have started on that journey of empowering myself and moving towards a growth mindset. So when I was born into an abundant home, into a wealthy home. And I had many opportunities. I used to go for piano lessons, dance lessons, drama. I used to even, perform on stage. And when I was 8, my entire world changed. And we lost all of our wealth. And in that process, on top of having to deal with an absent father, transitioning from abundance to scarcity was extremely challenging. And I think somewhere along that process, I became very shy and reserved and quiet. And I lost a lot of my confidence and I had very low self-esteem. And, speaking in public was not something that I was comfortable doing. Heck, just even raising my hand in class was awkward and uncomfortable for me. And, this is something that I even struggled with later on in my career, like in my 30s. Where I would sit in a boardroom and, have an opportunity to ask a question or really want to ask a question. And I would debate inside my head, whether it was a good enough question, whether people were going to laugh at me, whether they're going to think I'm stupid. And so, throughout that process of debating with myself, eventually somebody else would ask the question. And I would get so nervous. I could feel the anxiety in my nervous system. And so one of the tricks that I learned to overcome that was to, instead of negotiating with yourself, is to just ask the question immediately. So be the first one to raise your hand. And that sets the scene for more questions that you might want to ask following, that first question. But my point is that I was never comfortable in front of an audience. And today, I've been on radio shows, I've been on TV, I've been on plenty of stages where I've had the opportunity to do public speaking. And, I've had media training, I've gone through many courses and programs to help me to improve and master my craft. And I don't always get it right. I mean, God forbid the grammar police even monitors what I'm saying and what I'm writing and the way that I pronounce certain words. And for me, it's not that I don't care, but I think for me, the most important thing is the message that I'm trying to share and the stories that I'm trying to tell. Because there was a stage where I would practice a speech and, for weeks or months sometimes to get it perfect. And I realized that there is, and I've been told this as well, obviously, you learn the hard way, that there is no such thing as perfect. And the most important thing is to do your best, to be authentic. But part of my challenge in overcoming that fixed mindset was that there's always room for improvement. There's always room for development. And just up till a few months ago, I embarked on a speaker program, which helped me to, get more insights and to learn more about how I can become a better public speaker. So I think my point is that if you really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. And the first time you're going to do anything, it's going to be hard. There was a post that I came across that said, your first workout will be hard. Your first podcast will be hard. Whatever you're going to do is going to be hard. It's meant to be hard. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to grow you and challenge you. But I promise you that the more you do it, the more you practice, the more confidence you gain, and you start to shift from that fixed mindset of believing or having self-doubt to a place where you believe that you have a growth mindset and that you can do and achieve anything. I remember when my daughter was young, and I'd ask her to do something and she said, no, mommy, I can't do it. And there was a stage where we actually banned the word can't in our house. And, there's something that you can use. And again, going back to wealthy habit number 1 of watching and being aware of the stories you tell yourself. Henry Ford says, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So again, it all starts with the belief that you can do something. If you believe that you can't be wealthy, then guess what? You're never going to be wealthy. So you've got to shift that idea around, or that belief around, and start believing that you can. And I'll give you an example of how you can actually practice this. So again, watch out for the things that you say. And if you still are saying, I can't do something, first thing is obviously to start believing that you can. And, a trick that I use is to replace certain words that help me to reprogram my mind. So instead of saying, I can't do this because it's hard, start saying, I won't do this because it's hard. Do you notice the difference? Can't means that you're incapable of doing that thing that you want to do. Won't means that you can do it, but you just don't want to do it. And hopefully, once you go through that process, you can then start saying, I will do it. And that gives you the confidence to be able to start believing in your abilities. Notice how all the wealth habits are actually linked that we've discussed so far. So again, wealthy habit number 3, wealthy people have a growth mindset instead of a fixed one. So the question you need to ask yourself is it something you can't do, or is it something you won't do? And if it's something you really want for your life, then you will do it.